or 3 a.m. probably Eastern time. But for those night owls that are awake, I'm currently working on my boards, and I'm wrapping up for internships now for neurosurgery. So I'm getting ready for those. So my schedule is a little off since I just finished the renal section. So the renal is like been the kidneys has been really annoying. They're very complicated. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead in this video and try to do my best ability to react to the CPI report with the sauna light right above me here. So just because I'm not gonna be able to make a video tomorrow, I think, so I'm just gonna go ahead and make one now. All right, so the CPI report came at a top print of 3.5%, definitely higher than consensus. Most importantly, the core came higher than than expected. So kind of where am I sitting with this? Well, I kind of got in the argument of looking at the CPI report in Germany and in Eurozone and Europe, and I found that inflation's been going down, and I thought that would translate into the U.S. So it seems that we have some form of sticky inflation, not so much as an inflation that I think is going to worry the Fed. It's still on a downward trajectory. It's just going to take longer. So, I was hoping for a July rate cut, but now the market is deciding between a June rate cut. And then if, let's say, further inflation reports come back, and then they go ahead and say, well, inflation is still sticking its nose up in the air, then we're not even going to get any rate cuts this year. The biggest, if I would turn into a mega bear, is when the Federal Reserve actually hikes. Everything else I would say is bullish. If you look and analyze every time the CPI print came online, I want you to, if you care, go to a S&P 500 stock chart, and then go look up the past 5 CPI reports, and then look at the market, especially for January and February, where many thought it was seasonality. Even though this March was a cleaner CPI, it still showed increases. And you'll see as the market goes down a couple of percentage points, but then after a couple of days, it rebounds back up. And then the argument is, okay, is it going to be July? Is it going to be is it going to be a July rate cut, August rate cut, right? Or a 2025 rate cut? The biggest thing I'm looking at is we're sailing towards inflation going down, and we're ultimately going to do a rate cut. The reason why I'm a little upset is because the reason why I want a rate cut faster is because growth stocks are heavily impaired, especially in the Russell 2000. If you haven't recognized, the Russell actually dropped down a lot. I think around 3% yesterday or today, right? And sorry, I'm in the sauna, guys. I'm like sweating in the sauna. For people who don't, I'm in the sauna, right? It dropped, and of course it would drop because these are growth stocks. About half of them basically carry debt. And then also growth stocks, it's better to invest in long-term yields than a growth stock. So the discount rate on the intrinsic value calculation goes up. So that's why a lot of the intrinsic values don't make sense for small caps now, because they're heavily undervalued because the interest rates are high. Why would you risk your money in growth stocks that are not free cash flow positive when you can just buy money market funds? So I'm still bullish. Again, when the Federal Reserve hikes interest rates, that's when I'm going to be like, okay, guys, we're in for some pain. But overall, right now, this looks to me like a buy the dip opportunity, right? And that's what it looks like. So that's kind of where I'm at right now with that. So I hope that this video was helpful. A lot of the composition of the CPI report came from auto insurance and used cars, and especially the auto insurance part. So I would say give it some time. If it's not going to be this year rate cut, it'll definitely be in 2025. But the story can change for Wall Street when the PCE comes out. And then let's say if it does show it's dropping, then all of a sudden the narrative is going to change and Wall Street's going to basically do a 360. So again, this is just the stock market trying to figure out what the future is going to be. And you can basically see it. And then once we get those rate cuts, when those get those goddamn rate cuts, then money market funds are going to come out with their $6 trillion and then hit the S&P 500 and Russell. To give you some perspective, there's around $6 trillion in money market funds, and the total market cap for Russell 2000 is $3 trillion. So if you add 6 trillion, let's say, to small caps, that's $9 trillion. That's a 3x, right? And that's just all companies. Now imagine, like, they're obviously not all companies are going to go up the same way, right? So what am I looking at right now for Clover? I'm expecting, hopefully they report. I'm not expecting free cash flow positivity. I'm expecting their stupid adjusted EBITDA profitability. And then I'm going from there, and we'll go ahead and talk more about this on the next video, okay? All right, guys, hope this was helpful. I'll see you on the next one.